So hello guys, if you're watching this video right now, then you're probably wondering how you can increase your ad revenue. This could be either AdSense, Ezoic, or any ad network of your choice. Well, there are a lot of things you can actually do to increase your ad revenue, but these are the key things that you need to consider when increasing your ad revenue, and these are the things I'm going to share with you in this video. So a lot of people have been complaining to me that they are not making a lot of money through ad revenue, despite getting a lot of advice from a lot of experts that ad revenue is the easiest way to make money from blogging when you are getting a very huge amount of traffic. But a lot of people get this huge amount of traffic, yet they are not able to make any tangible amount. Well, this could be because you haven't heard of these few things that I'm going to share with you, or you probably haven't put them into practice. So in this video, I'm going to share with you 7 key things you need to put into practice to increase your ad revenue, be it for Google AdSense, Ezoic, or any ad network you are using at all. So with that already said, hello guys, welcome to my channel, welcome to Perez Tech. On this channel, I mainly focus on how you and I can make money online through blogging, affiliate marketing, or other side hustle ideas. So if this sounds like you and want more content like this, then do well to follow me on all my social media handles and also smash on the subscribe button. So with that already said, let's get straight into today's video. So the first thing to do to increase your ad revenue is simply offering dynamic content. So when I talk about dynamic content, I'm not referring to writing about broad niche or talking things outside your niche. I'm simply talking about adding more value to the content you create on your website. So ad networks tend to favor website that has a lot of resource pages such as forums, videos, and other key elements related to that niche, such as tools and the rest. So if you notice, when I started Perez Tech at first, if you've been following the channel for a long time now, you know that I used to have a forum on my website, pereztech.com. So on that website, I noticed that when I had the forum, my ad revenue was very on the high side. But the day I got rid of the forum, months later, I realized that my ad revenue started dropping. But I couldn't understand until I realized that when you have forums on your website, things that keep people highly active on your website, it tends to increase your revenue, because ad networks see that, okay, your website is always active, there are always people there discussing one thing or the other, adding more value to it, so they tend to also pay you way higher than any other website. This is not just because of the forum, but because there's more value being added through the forum. Or another thing you can consider doing is offering tools. So these tools are simply things that will keep people active on your website, because for your ad revenue to go up, you need people to not just visit your website, but have a reason to stay after reading the content they came here for. So those are other things that you need to consider to actually increase your ad revenue. And if you think your website don't need either a tool or any of this, you can consider looking into your niche and then looking at things you can offer. Like for example, if you come over to my new website called Football Central, I added other key things related to football. So on that website, I mainly focus on talking about football news, what is going on in the football space, and the rest. But then, to increase my ad revenue just by keeping users engaged and active on the website, I decided to add real-time match streaming, and also adding some league tables, other key information related to football. These are things that when I monetize that such site with ad networks, the revenue will tend to increase because of all those other features that are on the website to keep users active, so that users who visit don't just visit for what they visited for, but also try to stretch and across other content on the website. And this is the importance of actually adding dynamic content to your website. The second tip here when it comes to increasing your ad revenue is simply bypassing ad blockers. But then the big question is, how can you bypass ad blockers when you don't have access to your user's device? Well, there are mainly 2 ways you can actually bypass ad blockers. And the first one is simply letting your audience know that the ads shown on your website are the only ways in which you make money to sustain your brand, by renewing your web hosting, paying your content creators that work with you on your brand, and the other things you do just to sustain that blog. Though this might be a little bit awkward because not everyone will follow that advice, but I've seen it on a lot of websites and I do obey them. And then the other thing you can actually do here is simply using native ads. So what are native ads? Native ads are like content-based ads that you put manually into your website. So when you blend this native ad manually into your website, even ad blockers don't get to block them. Like for example, I use a lot of native ads on my website and also auto ads. So when you visit my website with an ad blocker, you might be able to block the auto ads and other flashy ads that are on the website, but you won't be able to bypass those manual ads that are on the website, because they look like the content, and the ad blocker also consider them to be responsive, so they don't block them from the web page. These are simply things you can actually do to increase your ad revenue. And this is really important because a recent research from Statista actually showed that there are about 80 million plus of internet users that are actually using ad blockers. So assuming just a few portion of these people visit your website on daily basis, you know how much you are actually losing at. So our advice, you consider letting audience know that they should stop using ad blockers when they are visiting your website, or probably use the native ad system. In that we don't have to tell them to bypass, to turn off their ad blockers or something when visiting your website. So this is the point number 2 on how you can actually increase your website revenue. Now let's move to the third point when it comes to increasing your website revenue. So the third tip to actually increase your website ad revenue is simply optimizing the number of ads displayed on your website and the size of ad. So when talking of optimizing your ad, I'm actually talking of adding more ads to your website in a way that it doesn't obstruct your users. Because like when you have only a few ads on your website, let me say you have one at the very top of your website, then you have one at the sidebar and one in between the content. Well, this really makes your website look responsive, and if you are someone who rely on ad revenue, then that would be a bad practice because you won't be making a lot of money. Because even that 3 ads you put, there are a lot of chances that not all those 3 will actually display to your users. That's the big truth, because at times users will visit and you realize that only one of the ads are probably displaying, or none of them, because they are not enough, and search engines actually pick ads randomly to display on your website. And when they notice that your website doesn't have a lot of spaces for ad, they tend not to even show ads in some places, or at times they don't even show a single ad. So our advice is to use more ads. This by enabling auto ad if your ad network like AdSense support auto ad, or simply use the manual ad system if your ad network doesn't support auto ads. And I always advise the manual ad because that's one of the best things that I've actually seen, and there's a video on how you can set up manual ads to match your content in a way that your users don't even get to differentiate what is an ad and what is your content, and the video will be done in this video description, so do well to check it out. Now let's move to the point number 3. The point number 4, as we are done with the point number 3, we said you should optimize your ads to match with the content on your page. So the point number 4 is simply targeting real audience that gives high ad revenue. So what do I mean by targeting real audience that gives high ad revenue? So when it comes to blogging, like in general, every ad network they have specific countries with how they scale their CPM. Like for example, if you are using AdSense and Ezoic, you will make more money from audience that are coming from European and American, like American countries and then Europe nations. This is because those countries are way more developed than Africa and other Asian countries that are less developed and invest less when it comes to internet and ad revenues. So if you are someone who is really focused on making more money through ad revenue, I advise you try targeting tier 1 countries like Netherlands, US, Canada, Australia, all those well-developed countries that you know that there are a lot of job offers and people in those countries hardly complain of economical crisis and the rest. In that way, you are going to get more ad revenue because their CPM is way more higher as compared to countries like Ghana, Nigeria, China, India, and all those upcoming countries that are not well known globally. So that is it, simply about the point number 3, simply targeting tier 1 countries. But if you find yourself using other ad networks like these flashy ad networks like Propeller Ads, Monetag, and the Adstera, those ones actually don't give any specific country to get more revenue, simply because their ads are way more flashy and more like adult ads. So they pay evenly to almost every single country out there, whether you're in Africa or any part you find yourself. Their ad revenue looks a bit stable as compared to that of AdSense. So if you find yourself in an entertainment niche where you pull a lot of local audience, then I would advise you use one of those ads and just leave AdSense alone. Like, so the 5th point when it comes to increasing your website ad revenue is simply creating high quality content. So what do I mean by high quality content? So the content on your website, the quality of those content actually determines how much users are going to bid for that, advertisers are going to bid for that website, and how much ad networks are actually going to pay you for the revenue they are going to generate from that website. So a lot of bloggers tend to just use AIs to generate random content and they just publish on their website and expect ad revenues to pay them very high for it. No. Ad revenues, when they are paying you, they take a look at the quality of the content on your website, and then they look at your competitors, look at the quality of content on their own website, and then they move those big advertisers ads to all those big websites that provide high quality content, or any sort of website that provide high quality content in that same niche, and they give you those peanut advertisers ad because they know that your content don't actually deserve to be paid very high because you did not put much time in your content research, neither did you provide any high valued content on your website, so there's no need in paying you very high for it. So this session is very short. The truth is that if you want to make more money through ad revenue or any means in which you are monetizing your website, the key thing is actually being able to put out quality content out there. And to put out quality content, you need to take your time and then research. So now let's move to the 5th and 6th and 7th point in this video. So if you find this video helpful so far, why not smash that subscribe button, like this video, and tell me what you feel down in the comment section. So let's get in. So the sixth point here is very important, trust me. That's why I actually prepare it and keep it in the sixth position, and this actually increasing your website speed. So a lot of people often look like a lot of new beginners when they are using ad revenue, they forget that their website speed is what determines the number of ads that will show on their website and how those ads will be shown to their audience. Because when your website speed is really slow, it will take a very long time for the ads to actually display, mostly if you're even using AdSense, because AdSense ads uses JSON file, JavaScript, or known as JSON file, JavaScript or JSON files. So those sort of files actually take a lot of time to load. Before they load, they make sure that the whole content on your web page are fully loaded, and then before they display those ads. And mostly if you're using some web hostings also, they do delay all those sort of ads, and then make sure that the full content on your web page actually load before those ads. And this thing you need to work for. So if you notice your website actually takes a very long time to load, that could be one of the main reasons why your ad revenue is low, because not all users who visit your website actually get ads or actually see ads on the web page, or probably even if they see ads, it breaks up the whole content page, so they just close it and leave their website, and this also kills your SEO as well. So if you are thinking that you've done every other thing that I said in this video, still your ad revenue isn't on the high side, then I think your main problem is simply either this point number 6 or the forthcoming point number 7. And if your website speed is really poor, no matter what you do, no matter how you optimize your ad, no matter the number of ads you use, no matter the quality of the content you have, as long as users don't get to see all the ads on that web page, you are not going to make any good amount of money off it. So the easiest way, and one of the key things to do when it comes to increasing your website speed, it has to do with your hosting provider. That's why I always recommend that if you are in the right path and you want to be on the right path of blogging and keep your website up and running, you can actually give a try to some of the web hostings that I recommend in an app. It's simply Hostgator, Hostgator, and Namecheap, and all those links will be down in the video description. However, for those of you who keep asking me to recommend local web hosting, well, I've begun on a program. Like, I'm using my own personal funds to test out various local hosting in various countries. So far, I've tested 2 to 3 in Nigeria, and I'm currently working on 2 to 3 in Ghana also. So I want to test out a lot of local hosting providers to see which of them is best. For those of you who want to start blogging and don't have enough funds to pay for Hostgator and Hostgator that are pretty much expensive when converted to local currency, I'm working on that as well. So for now, if you ask me the best web hosting to recommend to increase your website speed, I would advise you go for either Hostgator, Namecheap, or Hostgator. So this is really important because your website speed actually resonates with your ad revenue. So the point number 7 is actually your choice of niche. So what do I mean by your choice of niche? So when it comes to ad revenue, the niche you pick actually determines how much you are going to be paid. This also applies to either YouTube or any place you find yourself. Simply your choice of niche actually determines how much you paid. Like, for example, if you find yourself in a digital marketing niche, then your CPC will be on a very high side. However, the competition is very high. And if you are on the make money online niche, then you have a lot of ad revenue. Like, ad revenues are very high in those places because people who pay for such ad revenues know that they are competing with a lot of audience, so they pay very high for their ads. So if you find yourself in a niche whereby there's no much ad revenue, like there are less people actually bidding for the top page on search engines, or probably bidding for top page on website, then trust me, there's a high chance that you are not actually going to make a lot of money from ad revenue. So you have to diversify your source of income. That's simply the truth, and I'm going to tell you the truth straight ahead. So if you think you've applied every other thing I'm telling you in the past and still your ad revenue did not increase, take a time and then research more about your niche and see if there's a high ad revenue in your niche. And if there's none, then I think if you want to focus more on ad revenue, then you have to change your niche or probably change the way in which you monetize your website. So if you want to learn more ways in which you can monetize your website, then I'll be linking to a video down in this video description. And at the same time, if you are someone who is already in a niche that you think that's a niche you want to be in, but then you want to learn how you can fish high CPC keyword, which is high cost per click or high cost per view keywords, then I'll advise to check all the videos linked down in the description. I'm actually going to link to a video that will put you through how you can fish out high paying keywords so that you write about those high paying keywords, and in return they will resonate in your revenue as well, because the type of keyword you target really plays a lot of role when it comes to how much you make from your ad revenue. So hello guys, hope you find these 7 tips helpful. So don't forget to smash that subscribe button, like this video, and tell me what you feel down in the comment section. With that already said, have a nice day. Don't forget to follow me on all my social media platforms. Bye.